Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Impact Makers. Excited today to talk to everyone about client experience. And when I think of client experience, it goes back to some lean training and a service model that is very helpful in kind of framing up what client experience is inside of CPA firms. At least it really resonated with me the first couple of times that I saw it. And so, without further ado, I'm going to toss it to my business partner here, Dustin Hostetler, to kind of give a little backstory about the Kano model and how how it came about, and then we can dive into how it specifically helps CPA firms. So as you get started, Dustin, I'm gonna share a screenshot of the Kano model.
Okay, great, Michael. And while he's pulling that up, the Kano model is a model that's been around for a number of years, 20 plus, 30 plus years. And I first saw this in a version of this in 2006 as I was going through my own Lean Six Sigma black belt training with a bunch of manufacturing businesses in that class. And it was a bit different than what you're seeing here and how we've continued to refine it over the years to apply to professional services. But I want to give a high level understanding of what this model is getting at, because I think that high level what and why is going to be helpful as Michael dives more into the details of the definitions here. So you see the horizontal and the vertical axis. The higher up we go on this scale, you see client satisfaction there at the top. The higher up we are on these different service lines, the happier our clients are. As we go down on the chart on the vertical axis, our clients are not happy with the experience that they are getting from our work. Off to the right, in the horizontal axis there, you see is firm execution. It's how well are you delivering the service to the clients. And off to the right, you're delivering the service very well. The execution of what you're doing for your client is nearly flawless the farther to the right you go. The farther to the left you go, you're not doing a good job. It's not a good service for you to be offering. And so that's just at a high level how you interpret this graph. And what you'll see there is that there are 3 different major service lines that in any industry, any type of organization is providing: basic, performance, and delighter. That's kind of been the standard bearer for terminology in this Kano model. And high level, historically, the definitions of those 3, basic is this is the work that you're doing that your customers take completely for granted. In most simple terms, it's a commodity. It's what people take, it's what your customers take for granted, and they view it more and more as a commodity. As you move up the scale here, though, to that performance line, this is the work that you do for customers, the services you provide that generate the primary results that they were seeking. So it's your first level of differentiation above that commodity level. And then lastly there, where we all want to be, where our businesses all want to be operating, at least at different points in the customer experience, is at that delighter curve level. That is when you are getting to an unexpected wow factor with your customers. Unexpected in that your customers weren't necessarily ready for what you just did. You blew them away with something that that went above and beyond what their expectations were. And so it's that unexpected wow factor. What are you doing to really differentiate yourself from the competition? And you can see as soon as you just start doing a little bit of that, you don't even have to do it that well, you're so much higher up on that customer satisfaction scale. So, like Michael mentioned, and I mentioned at the beginning of this Kano model has been used for years in Lean Six Sigma methodology to help organizations understand what the voice of the client, what the voice of the customer is telling them and expecting. So we can set up our processes and delivery models to try and get higher and higher on this customer experience scale. That's all well and good, but let's make it now customized more to what this means for CPA firms. And with that, Michael, can you just walk us through? You can see there the basic performance, the lighter curves.
Yep.
We have put compliance, advisory, and consulting as the parallels to those. Can you walk us through what our definitions are of those three?
Yeah, and we found in working with firms over time and just listening to thought leadership and presenting thought leadership, definitions are super important to try to make this real for everyone. And so, as we look through there, and sorry about the clicking here, it's just a little challenge there. But as you see here, we created the definitions for CPA services. Look at the compliance. What is compliance? That's the work and the services performed as required by law or the standards. And this is things that are done on a recurring basis. So this could be monthly bookkeeping. This could be monthly close. It can be tax. It can be recurring audits. Advisory. This is recurring up the value chain, delivering the expectation, meeting the expectation that the client sets out for you. Additional value. Typically, it's tied to compliance. And then as you move up there, the consulting line, think of this as could be strategic or independent projects that have specific timelines or timeframes to solve specific issues. And so as you look at that, you start to see that it's the Kano model starts to make more sense as you have those definitions. Now, as we look at that in those definitions, let's go back to the model. And Dustin, why don't you kind of talk about kind of a little bit of in between the lines, so to speak?
Absolutely. So one of the things we talk a lot about, Michael and I, is being unique and not always going with the majority and pushing back on the profession where we see it needs to be pushed back on. And one of those areas is in what I would call the doom and gloom with regard to compliance. As we look at this model, we don't think this has to be an either or. You can only do consulting, otherwise your firm's going to crash and die. We don't see it being doom and gloom. In fact, we see this being an and proposition where you can build from a current compliance base a lot of those relationships into recurring advisory relationships. You don't have to just completely forget about all that compliance work that you have. So yeah, if you just do compliance, you can see there, you're never really crossing that threshold of true client value and satisfaction. But as you strategically work with those clients to add recurring advisory work, like tax planning and strategy on the tax side, additional insight into cash flow, financial modeling, et cetera, in the accounting side or financial statement side of your business. As you build from compliance into more of that advisory role, not only are you adding a higher level of value and you can see the satisfaction of your clients going up, that allows you to bill at higher rates and really take advantage of some advanced pricing techniques, using Michelle Golden's term that we like so much, advanced pricing. And so we see the ability of firms to build off that compliance to advisory, and then it should be an and as well to consulting. It may not be the same individuals that are doing the compliance and advisory that do the consulting. Those are more strategic one-off projects, as Michael mentioned. But as your advisors are identifying unique opportunities within your client base, there may be opportunities to bring in specialized consultants to really take it to the next level. So we're passionate about this model. We think it applies more than ever to our CPA firm clients today. And this is a big part of that ConsultoryCPA that we launched in January as well. So Michael, to wrap up today, last thoughts on that, the movement from compliance to advisory to consulting, what we call ConsultoryCPA, from your point of view.
Yeah, from my point of view, take the time to digest it. Look at the model, think about the services that you provide, think about that and proposition that Dustin mentioned. I think that's critical. It's compliance and advisory. It's advisory and consulting, or it's all three. And it's understanding like you mentioned early on, that voice of the client. So, again, digest this model and look to apply it in your specific situation, and let us know what you think. Reach out with questions. We love this stuff. Happy to help you, apply it in the multiple areas that you have. So, until the next time, have a great one.
Bye, everyone.